Welcome to the Barstool College Football Show, Week 12 of college football. We are back in studio. Dave is in person. We were in Oxford last week. That was pretty awesome.
Awful place. Awful.
I was asking Dave.
It smelled terrible. Creatures in the crowd. Awful place.
You were great, Brandon. I want to say that Brandon played the heel
He did.
so well.
I was not playing the heel whatsoever. I was playing the baby face. You guys were playing the heel.
It is officially the favorite college campus I've ever visited. And I guess it shouldn't be shocking. A lot of people have said, got to go to the Grove, got to go to the Square. And it was. People great. Brandon's cousin. It's like you meet people in life, families in life. She came up, we were eating Corner Square. Where do we
We're eating at City Grocery.
City Grocery.
City Grocery's amazing.
Yeah, renowned
It's
restaurant.
average at best.
They have the meatloaf.
she
delicious.
tapped me on the shoulder. She said, I'm cousins with Brandon Walker. Lovely looking lady. She's like, I think she went to Ole Miss. And she's like, we have a spot at the Grove. And you see families. Like every family has the misfit in the one who's just outside the circle. That's Brandon. And I get why he would hate Ole Miss so much, because it is beautiful. Now, I'll reserve judgment for you, Brandon. I haven't been to Mississippi
You're
State.
not reserving judgment. You already going to do the stupid ass shit that Ron and Caleb did, and he's going to say pink eye. And, and it's been 5 years. I've been there 5 years. You hadn't gone to my place, and we go to this stupid ass place.
Well, look at the teams.
Mike Leach was alive 2 years ago, and we never went. We never went. We never one time
we
went.
were getting
We went to
close
Michigan
to
38
going.
times.
Well, Michigan's
never
the
went to
national
Starkville.
champs. They're important games. And I said it to you, if they can get in an important game, we will go.
They were an important game this year.
Which one?
Important to me.
Yeah.
He
They
did.
lost to Toledo at home.
You don't have.
Well, I'm asking which one was important.
And by the way, I'm not.
I had your back last week. I wore a Georgia hat, and I bet on Georgia like an idiot.
You guys told us we were lying for betting on Ole Miss.
I was
No,
dumb.
I said you were lying because what you were telling those people.
No, I
You were telling
I
people,
said that Ole Miss
my
was
God,
gonna
the
win.
Grove's so great. The
Grove is
first of all, it was
great.
muddy. It was
Well,
raining.
Grove is
that's
great,
the problem.
and Ole Miss was gonna win.
That's the problem we have with this show. Sometimes we talk in euphemisms or over-the-top exaggerations. The Grove is that good. Ole Miss is
not.
that good. Yes, it is.
We didn't even stop at a tent. You just walked through it one time.
What are you talking? I was in a tent.
How long you were in a tent?
Not
That
long.
woman with the fake ass eyelashes and stuff. That was a
Yeah,
terrible
that's
fake
what
She
people.
gave me a
What's wrong
beer.
with
She
fake
was very
eyelashes?
nice.
The Grove is great. I mean, we're gonna hang out there forever? No. Could you? Yes.
You couldn't. It would be awful.
And Brandon, he did say when we were on the way to the airport, no cameras, no anything, that he thinks that we do need to go to Starkville to give you a fair shot.
It's been 5 years. 5 years.
I will.
5 years
We haven't
of
gone to
life.
my school either. It
5
happens.
years of my life.
I will
but then Your
say-
school's a cult. My school has cowbells. It's beautiful.
I will say.
I can promise it's better than Starkville.
I'm going to use a pizza analogy. Most of the time, when everybody's like, this place is great, this place is great, this place is great for pizza, it ends up being great. That's Ole Miss. Most of the time, same thing. You're not going to like this pizza. You're not going to like this pizza. This pizza's bad. Usually they're right. That has been the
We'll go taste the
sentiment
pizza.
from Mississippi State, but I will go taste the pizza.
You're not.
And I
tasting the
hope,
Pizza.
I
You've
hope,
had plenty of time to taste the pizza.
You're
not tasting the
well,
pizza.
If somebody, like, again, back to pizza, when people say it's great, great, great.
We haven't
I say-
left pizza yet.
I say awesome, put it on the list. We got to get there. When people say this place stinks, 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 it tends not to be top of mind.
Brandon, take him to the guest room when we go to Starkville.
We're gonna
He'll
go-
like it.
We'll go
Two
to
brothers.
a way better restaurant.
Two brothers.
Way better. Two brothers. The guest room. Anthony's. Way better restaurant.
Restaurant Tyler, right?
Restaurant. Well, that's the guest room.
The guest room. Oh, I thought they were two different
They're
places.
the same thing.
Oh,
I'd like to get to Starkville. Ole Miss was amazing.
it was.
It was rainy. Did you see the creatures in the front row?
They were creatures.
They were awful
Those two,
looking
yeah.
people.
I saw the two you were talking about.
You said they looked like Mincy, and it was.
You can see where he came from.
By the way, we got to say this about Mincy. He had his big moment where you allowed him on stage without a dump button, and he came with the under.
Yeah, but listen.
He was right.
Listen.
I know, but just like that's his
and
moment
I'm
to
not-
rile up the crowd, and he's like, I think the under's
You know
gonna
what?
hit.
Mincy walked in his turf, said exactly what he was going to do, did what he said. He goes, I'm going to bet Ole Miss at 35-1 to win the national championship. They're going to beat Georgia today. They're going to go down to 10-1, and I'm going to have that ticket. He sat up there with those googly eyes, and he did exactly what he said. So I wish I listened to him. That was
Yeah.
a great-ass bet.
It was. It was.
What games are this week?
Okay, let's get right to him, Brandon. Keep it moving. The High Noon Weekend Preview. It's time to load up on the ice and break out the oversized lawn games because the High Noon In Zone Pack is here. It includes the fan favorites pear and cranberry along with black cherry and grapefruit. The High Noon In Zone Pack is a fall exclusive, which means it's here for a good time, not a long time. Visit highnoonspirits.com before your next tailgate to find a pack near you. Let's go to the ACC, which we know is kind of a mess now that Miami lost last week. Number 20, Clemson at Pitt. Clemson minus 10, the over-under at 53.5. Dave, I will start with you. We saw Clemson a couple weeks ago get embarrassed. They bounced back last week. Pitt now 7-2 as well. Who are you taking?
Seems like a lot of points to me. I'll take Pittsburgh at home. Miami, you referenced that loss. Fraudulent. I mean, just that they were fraudulent. They could have lost easily. They haven't played anybody. They have no defense, so not really that surprising, I guess. I'll take Pittsburgh in the points.
Dan?
I'm going to take the over. Pittsburgh runs fast. Clemson, they're out. I mean, they need to basically win the ACC now. So they have to run the table. They also they need some help. They need Miami to catch another loss. They need SMU to catch 2 losses, right? Mm-hmm. So their season might be over. They got to just hope and pray and put up a ton of points. So I'm going to take the over.
And Brandon, we've talked about Clemson all year about how it looked like after the Georgia loss, they got their offense rolling.
Sure.
Obviously did not continue. Mm-hmm. Do you think they can beat Pitt, though?
Yeah, because there's a lot of teams in this country that are pretending right now, and for a while, Pitt was one of them. They got out to 7-0, but they were never real. They were always fake. Clemson's a much better football team with much better football players. Clemson minus 10 is the pick.
Yeah, I like Clemson the over. Brandon said Pitt, they got exposed. I mean, they got smashed against SMU. They lose outright at home against Virginia. Give me Clemson. And I like the over, too, because I think Clemson should dominate on the defensive line, but they'll score quite a bit as well. Pitt's got no defense.
One of the interesting things that's going on in this year for college football is the teams like Clemson, the teams like Georgia, we'll see, we'll get to talk about that game. Those 2 teams, if they miss the playoff in a 12-team playoff, that feels way different than if they had a year where they finished 9th and they don't make the playoff and everyone's like, well, it's a 14 playoff. I'm not saying Dabo's seat is hot, but it's just a very different vibe if you're a Clemson or Georgia and can't make a 12-team playoff.
Well, especially for Dabo because he's refusing to evolve with like the transfer portal and NIL and all that because it's like, okay, well, he won a couple national titles.
I don't think his seat is hot. I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to be forced to start getting with the times.
I'm going to take Clemson too. I mean, I know it's a lot of points, but I just don't believe in Pitt. And I mean, Clemson still does have a decent offense. I'm going to take them with the points. Let's go to Kansas at BYU. BYU minus 2.5, the over-under at 56.5. Dan, BYU, I mean, barely beating Utah, crazy into that game, still undefeated. The Big 12 also a conference. It's kind of a mess. We don't necessarily know who's going to go out there, but BYU still undefeated right now.
Yeah, so 2 things on this game. There are 2 teams in the Big 12. There's chaos in the Big 12, and it's because 2 teams that started really bad have started to look a lot better as the season has gone on. It's Houston and it's Kansas. And the second thing is, this line is basically screaming to take BYU. Everyone's going to take BYU. Number 6 in the country, minus 2.5 at home. I think this is where they trip up. I think Kansas wins this game.
Brandon?
And this is the biggest pretender in college football, BYU. They've tried to lose multiple times. They tried to lose to Utah, couldn't quite do it. They will lose to Kansas outright to win this game.
Dave?
That felt anti-Semitic.
How did that? They're Mormon, Dave. They got one Jewish player. They got one Jewish player. I'm sure there's some Jewish players on Kansas. Maybe I don't know.
I'd probably not.
BYU.
We're the quarterback.
That's one Jewish player.
The quarterback at BYU. Listen, I don't know where you're getting their frauds. I feel like they got a lot of quality wins.
They have a win over SMU, which is a pretty good win. They have a blowout win over Kansas State, good quality win. They also have the escape against Utah, and they have escape against somebody else. Who was the other escape against? Oklahoma State. Thank you very much. Awful football team.
I don't know.
Yeah, they were like 10-point favorites, and they only won by like 3.
Which is fine. At some point.
And the Oklahoma State quarterback got hurt in that game.
They scored with like 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
At some point, maybe a team's just got a special kind of magic. BYU just got it.
No, he's a big BYU fan.
Who isn't? I like listen, I think it's still one of the toughest places to play in the country, Provo. So I am going to take BYU, and see if they can keep it going.
Ev?
Yeah, I've been a BYU guy all year. I think they've been dodging landmines for weeks. I think this is probably the spot they get tripped up. Hey, maybe they win by 1-2. You still cover, but I got to take Kansas with the points. Just have to.
Yeah, I'm taking Kansas with the points too.
Love it.
They should have lost last week. And
2.5 doesn't scare you at home?
Not all you guys taking Kansas.
Okay.
Go ahead,
What's your
Blutman.
noise?
Go ahead, Blutman. Go
Every
ahead.
line every week for BYU, everyone's like, "Oh, that's a scary one." Oh,
Well, that was scary last week.
Yeah,
and also last week,
It's
they didn't
happened
cover.
every
But
week,
they
and every
covered.
week
Utah
they
covered.
overcome the adversity.
Listen, I'd have no problem if BYU won this game by 1.
Is that what we're calling it?
problem.
Special magic?
Yeah, we are. BYU is special magic. Also-
Between Indiana and BYU, Blutman is
He's
a
all
ride or
in on
die.
these pretend teams.
A&M has a choice
mean,
player, by the way.
Arizona, they beat by 100. They beat at Baylor. That I'm sure people said at Baylor was a trip-up game.
It was.
did.
That was a landmine game.
They win that game. They kill Kansas State. They beat SMU at SMU.
SMU's pretty
They
good.
have a lot of quality wins.
Are they?
I guess
Well,
the
you're
AC
into the thing,
SMU
though.
has a good record.
But you're
The
into
ACC
the thing.
is just bad. You're
You're
right.
into the thing now, like everybody's bad. Who's good?
No,
So
I'm
you got
not
two
into the
teams?
thing that
You
everybody's
got
bad. I didn't say that.
So who are your teams who are good?
Well, Oregon's
Ohio
good.
State
Ohio State's good.
And Oregon.
Texas is good.
Ah!
Okay, can I keep going?
Who did
I
Texas
don't like
beat?
what I'm about to say. Ole Miss is good.
Yeah.
I've never said
Who is Texas beat?
Vanderbilt. They don't have a good record.
That's it.
But I'm just
That's
going.
it.
I'm going on hopes and
Okay.
dreams that Texas is good. I'm just. That's my.
Are you
opinion.
gonna say another team that's good? That is good that you were wrong about?
Who am I wrong?
Alabama?
Yeah.
Alabama. I was going to get to Alabama.
Okay,
you
they're
guys
good.
stop me every
They're
time. You
good.
pointed
They're
right in my
good.
face.
What
Well, I
about-
had a problem about Texas.
Well, Texas hasn't really proven anything yet, but they're fine. Whatever. Yes, Casey.
What about Indiana?
I don't know.
I mean, Michigan brutalized them last week.
Yeah.
They should have won the game. Michigan daddied them.
All right, let's go to number 1, Oregon at Wisconsin. Dan, Oregon minus 14,
I don't
the
know
over
why
under
this
52.
game is on here.
Well, they're the number 1 team in the country.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it?
Not good. I'm not going to bet against my team. I'm going to take Wisconsin plus 14. I'm hard at work fixing this program.
You too?
Yeah.
Brandon, you better get hard.
I'm
at work
harder
too.
at work than
Oh,
him.
I got to, because I got to repair relationships because this motherfucker.
Yours is probably the easiest one to get hard at work. There, you give them a bucket of apples.
Bucket of apples. That's what I'm going to use. A bucket of apples.
That's the
Eggs.
NIL.
Give them eggs.
Yeah.
Give them eggs.
I am hard at work trying to fix. I believe in Luke Fickell. This is obviously Oregon's way better than Wisconsin. Who knows? Maybe we keep it close. I'm not going to bet against my team.
I just feel like Oregon is due kind of a sleepwalking game. And maybe that's just me being stupid. Maybe they go in here and win by 50. I like Wisconsin plus 14.
Here's the other thing. The only other thing I can say about this game in the plus 14, Oregon is a little bit of a gentle lover in the fact that when the game's over, they kind of.
They're not trying to kill anybody.
Yeah, and they also haven't been like those old Chip Kelly Oregon teams.
Yeah.
They're scoring 50.
And going
like,
for 2.
Yeah,
No,
they're
Dan
No, they're a
Lanning's
gentle
al-
lover.
He's also doing fake punts when they're up by 1 million points.
Yeah,
too,
but
though.
he doesn't. I bet on Oregon on a couple of the big spreads, and they like even the Purdue game.
Yeah, it's
kind
not-
of
they
just take a
haven't-
little bit of the foot off the
It's like
gas.
38-14 type, 31
Yeah.
type. I'm going to take Oregon because Wisconsin's horrible, but it
Same
Oregon-
record as you, just so you know.
Hands up, we're really bad this year.
All right.
Oregon, these big spreads, they haven't been overly impressive, so I don't have utmost confidence in it, but I'll still take Oregon.
I'm taking Oregon. I mean, I understand it's 14 points. I still think that they are absolutely 14 points better than Wisconsin. And I do think that Dan Lanning is trying to do, not necessarily style points by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not like he's just sitting back. I mean, again, he's done things throughout the year that said he wants to make a statement. Ev, do you take Oregon or Wisconsin?
I hate the game from a betting standpoint. Give me the over 52.
Okay. A big one for Colorado. Utah at number 17, Colorado. Colorado minus 11.5, the over-under at 46.5. Brandon, Colorado right now rolling 7-2, an absolute path to the Big 12 championship. We saw Utah get let down in the Holy War last week against BYU, as we've mentioned. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm going to take Colorado for 2 reasons. They're rolling as well as they've rolled in a long, long, long time. Number 2 is I don't like where Utah's head's at. They had a big lead against their rival at home. They blew it. Their AD goes out, embarrasses himself.
Yep.
He's fine.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing.
They're whining about the officials. They're bitching about the officials, and they gave up a big lead in the second half. Couldn't score a point in the second half. Now they're going to go on the road, try to keep up with this team? No, thank you.
Fourth quarterback too.
Fourth quarterback.
Yeah,
yes,
their
yes.
third quarterback got hurt. I'm with Brandon. Also, Travis Hunter is the Heisman.
Could be true.
Could be true.
Could be true.
Do you have a vote?
I don't have a vote.
It's a big game for him as a Heisman. Because
Huge.
Colorado, I feel like, hasn't been in many of these double-digit favorite spots. They've been close games. Big 12's close. This is one
Nationally televised early.
you gotta hope
An
they hang a
pick.
40
Yeah.
spot or something. I'll take Colorado, but I don't love it just because, like I said, I don't recall them as double-digit favorites that much. But I'll take it. Dion has them rolling. Dion has them rolling.
This fourth string quarterback, whoever it is, what's the name?
Well, they're going back to Isaac Wilson's.
Oh, they are. Okay, so Zach Wilson's brother. So back to the second.
Yeah, I think their fourth is Sam Horde.
Okay, so
Wait, what was wrong
Isaac
with-
Wilson is his name?
Isaac, yeah.
Was he
Isaac-
benched or did he get hurt?
He benched.
Oh, good.
Performance.
Isaac
a lot of bad
Wilson,
throws.
this is a message to you. Okay, Isaac Wilson, I want you to hear this. I want you to hear this right now. People don't believe in you, and they don't think that you can throw it to Travis Hunter's way. So you need to throw it to Travis Hunter's way all day long.
You're definitely
him.
a pick six
Test
away
him.
from maybe sealing it.
Test a pick six touchdown game.
Unless,
Test
like
him,
I
Isaac
said,
Wilson. Test him.
Dylan Gabriel goes and spanks Ohio twice. That
Yeah.
would hurt you.
That would hurt a lot.
Cam Ward, I mean, he still had a really good game, but Miami losing last week. We were watching that on the
Huge.
plane on the way home, and it was enormous for that. I'm going to take Colorado. I absolutely love it. Ev, who are you taking?
I mean, I almost feel like I have to go against it for the sweep, but I feel like it's a tough game for Utah to get off the mat. Give me Utah. Fuck it.
There you go.
Just for the sake of the graphic.
Just for the graphic,
That's
even though
a
the
team
graphic's
player.
not up, but
Team
it's
player. All right, this slate isn't that great on paper, but we obviously have a big one in the SEC. Number 7, Tennessee at number 12, Georgia. Georgia minus 10.5, the over-under at 48. Brandon, Georgia losing to Ole Miss last week, obviously a big shocker. Tennessee, though, 8-1. Who you taking?
I mean, I don't think there's ever been a buy-in spot better than this for a team as good as Georgia. Tennessee's got the quarterback questions. Does Nico have a concussion? I believe the running back Dylan Sampson's got some things.
What does
on.
Georgia have to do for you not to be sold on Georgia?
They went on the road. They lost to a very good Ole Miss team. They're coming back. They're playing a Tennessee team who doesn't have a great offense. I think they're back against the wall right now. They went on the road. They beat Texas. They had the great second half against Alabama. It's in there somewhere.
It's now or never.
It's now or never. I don't think they're missing the 12-team playoff. I think with their resume, with the schedule they've had, as long as they win this one, they're going to get in the playoff, no problem. But they got to win this one. I like Georgia in this spot. And, well, I'll save the other half for later.
Dave?
I mean, you take out the Texas game, which we don't know what to make of them, and Georgia has been pedestrian, right? They lose to Bama. They lose to Ole Miss, kind of get dominated by Ole Miss. Could have lost to Kentucky. So there's been the quarterback stinks. He shouldn't have an arm sleeve like that.
Nope.
It's showing.
Nope.
Agreed.
Too much eye black.
This game proves nothing to me. I don't think either of these teams are going to make a run at the national championship. You got Georgia. You got guys celebrating with the other team after they win. I'm going to take Tennessee, but that's because I'm not sold on Georgia.
And Dan, we talked about this last week, but Carson Beck just has been an absolute letdown for them.
Yeah.
Like we said, he stinks.
No faith in him.
But Nico obviously banged up too.
Listen, I think Nico could be a good quarterback eventually. I also think that even if he plays in this game, it's going to be a big, big struggle. I'm going to take the under in this game, under 48. Tennessee's defense is very good.
It's one of the best in the country.
Yeah, their defensive line will give Carson Beck fits. Shout out that one guy I said like 3 weeks ago that Carson Beck struggles under pressure, and then he tried to show me a clip of him not struggling under pressure, and every single moment he's been under pressure, he's sucked since. So I'll take the under 48.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee plus 10.5. I think it's too many points for the way Georgia has been playing. Obviously, a big game for the SEC race. And Brandon, we've talked about this a lot. The SEC race for the college football playoff is kind of a mess at the moment.
Yeah, there could be 6 10-2 teams. That could be what we're headed for. If Georgia wins this and then A&M beats Texas at the end, there will be 6 10-2 teams in the SEC.
And then there's a 3-loss team that could beat half of them.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
And has
Zero-win SEC team.
Why?
Why?
What good?
Who do you guys have left?
Hold on. What good does that serve right now? I haven't said a thing about Michigan's overrated ass right now. I haven't said anything about Michigan.
It just clears up the conference.
It doesn't clear up the conference. We weren't talking about the bottom of the conference. We're struggling right now. We're trying to put some things together.
In the SEC.
You've skipped a whole bunch of teams.
Who do you have left?
We have Missouri and we have Ole Miss.
You could beat Missouri at home.
I know.
Yeah, you could beat Missouri. You could beat Missouri.
Do it for
You could beat Missouri.
Do it for America?
Lubman hates Missouri. Like, as much as he loves Indiana and BYU, he hates Missouri. And USC.
When's the last time you guys have gone winless in the conference?
Not in my lifetime, at least for the last 15 years.
You're 16 years old.
Not in a while. I think maybe the 80s.
You don't know?
I don't know. I try to. We've had a good run for the last 30 years. It's been a really good run.
You guys were ranked number 1 in 2014.
Number 1 in the country.
You went to an SEC championship game in the 90s.
98, lost to Tennessee, national champs.
Peyton Manning.
Got a bad holding call again.
Oh, no, not Peyton Manning, Peerless
T.
Price.
Martin.
What's the vibe like in Starkville for a home game?
What the fuck are you doing? When we're good, the vibe is
now,
second to none.
now.
It's not good. It's bad. I got to get down there and fix some things.
So you're on
Gotta
the
get you down
recruiting
there.
trail too?
I
NIL
don't have the war chest these two have, but I got to figure out a way to figure out how to get some players in there.
Have you had those conversations?
With myself, yes.
I mean,
That's the first
you want me to
step.
throw out the idea? Why not? Dave,
Dave, I want you to
think
hear
you
this
should,
side.
I think you should let Brandon bring back more cowbell,
My Mississippi State podcast, you wouldn't let me have.
Patreon, so people, and all the money goes to NIL. So he can do the more cowbell podcast. Patreon. It'll only be Mississippi State, and anyone who pays for that, all the money goes to the NIL.
Sure.
There we go. Bang.
Wow.
There we
That's
go. That was
huge.
easy.
Big.
Okay,
That
all
was
right,
easy.
all
Let's
right.
go.
Now we're
Subscribe
back
to
to
the
the
Patreon.
Hey,
Wait, how much?
Subscribe to the Patreon.
How much do you charge on Patreon?
He'd be like $5 a month.
$5 a month.
Yeah, but people know that if you get the content, it's
going
going
straight
straight
to
to the NIL. That's
I
it.
love that.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping any money.
Yeah. He's not keeping $1.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
So more cowbell's back.
we're all getting in the NIL
know
game.
we-
He should get to
I
be
didn't
in
know
the
we
NIL.
had more cowbell.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
3
we
years
had more
ago, you wouldn't let
cowbell.
me do my Mississippi State podcast.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah,
I'm being dick.
but it's perfect for behind the
It may
Patreon
have
because it's
been-
going to be like.
if I'm just putting how my brain thinks now, how maybe I thought back then, it's like, what a colossal waste of time of your talents, like to be doing a Mississippi State podcast.
I got
for,
plenty of talents
for 27 people. When you
No,
could
it's
be
going to be like 1,000, which
Thousands.
$5 a month. That's $5,000.
So that's the only thing I can think back then. It's like, do we really want you spending time on that?
But now this
Here's-
is the
Like,
NIL.
we
now-
want
but-
this SEC team podcast.
Are you texting the boys saying more cowbells back?
Do you have co-hosts on that? Yeah, who are the boys?
Oh, I'm bringing in a co-host.
He's got,
But does he have to?
yeah, no, every dollar has to go to the
every dollar.
NIL.
Can you
No,
imagine
don't worry about it,
if
don't
this
worry about
podcast was going right now? How depressing that would be.
Oh, yeah. But listen.
But sometimes people have to hear the truth.
Right,
and I'll tell them the truth.
And also, the whole premise behind it is you pay for this podcast, and you will be helping get it
You're
better.
gonna get like the ankle of a placeholder.
Oh, we're gonna call.
Are you calling
I-
Bucky Irving?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Imagine doing the Week 7 preview. All right, we're catching 38 against Texas.
You're going to have to subscribe. You're going to have to pay for the Patreon so you can hear it.
Hey, Jake.
I'm going to hear it.
I'm gonna hear. I'm
definitely
totally
gonna
paying.
subscribe.
Me and you, more cowbell podcast. You ready?
Tell them it's for the NIL.
I don't know, but Dave just told me I could do it.
NIL.
We're back. We're back, baby. We're back.
I actually did hear somebody on the other end of that call.
Yeah, no,
yeah,
I heard it
we're
too.
back.
He said, how do you want to do it?
Yeah.
So when does it start, Brandon?
Tomorrow. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Are you gonna get a gigantic check like Mincy did at Ole Miss to give to the Grove?
I'll figure it all out.
Okay.
It's all in
Brandon
the planning
Walker is
stages right
in
now.
the NIL game.
I'm back.
Shout it from the
Huge.
I
mountaintops.
think Mincy's cranking up the brick watches again too. They like that 40 grand we
Yeah.
gave to the collective.
Just everybody's in the NIL game now.
Oh, can I just the 40 grand, right? It was so you were going to give 1,000 per watch.
Yeah.
You sold 40 watches.
Yeah.
That's kind of underperforming, don't you think?
40 grand.
That's just I don't know if you'd given me that deal. I would've
No,
sold,
that's not it.
I'd have sold
Trust me, you-
250.
you-
I'd have sold 250.
Watches?
Yeah, I would have sold 250.
Ah, yeah, right.
I would have sold 250 watches.
Say you'll do that too then.
I ain't selling his stank ass watches.
Listen, I know how the brick watch sales have gone. 40 was
Hard to
impressive.
move.
Yeah.
Hard to move weight.
Those things are not hut merch.
But Mincy sold 40. All right, let's go to Powerade Trivia with Brandon Walker. The college football landscape has changed a lot. NIL deals, social media, and the transfer portal. And there's never been more distractions for an athlete, but Powerade knows what's most important, and that's commitment to the game. With 50% more electrolytes than Gatorade Thirst Quencher, hydrate your grind with Powerade. Grab a pack today on Amazon or at a store near you. See product label details. It takes more. Brandon Walker, your trivia. Do you need to change it now or something?
I'm gonna need social channels. I'm gonna need all these. Okay.
Like I said, this is why it probably was like.
Everybody relax. I've got this.
You just gotta
delicious-
make it. You just gotta make it something that's like. It's just kind of like a you and like a dark secret kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
With your guys.
Mountain
You're
Berry.
a little cult. It needs to be like a little cult.
Yeah, Brandon, you're good.
You're a cult leader now.
Slow it because he could take that away.
Why would you do that?
Because you're like if you're starting to say like social.
You think I'm gonna stop working hard for you? I'm gonna keep.
No. But here's the thing: is like if you have like Katie Stats running
I'm
social
not
for
having
that,
Katie
shit
Stats.
like that.
I'm not gonna do that to that
Yeah,
woman.
just keep it.
I'm drinking.
It's a
By
word
the
of
way-
mouth. It's a word of mouth podcast.
By the way,
it's a word of mouth podcast.
Here's the thing, though. If he did have her working on it, she would never snitch on him anyway.
Yeah, but it's a word of mouth podcast.
I'm having the delicious Mountain Berry blast. Here is your Power Age trivia question for the week. Now that Indiana is 10-0, only 2 teams remain. There are 2 Power 4 teams in this country who have never had a 10-win regular season. Only 2 teams remain.
One's easy.
One was Indiana. There were 3. Indiana's gone now.
One is
2
easy.
remain. What are those 2 teams?
One is easy.
Well, I've asked for 2, not 1.
This one is easy. What is the?
Yeah, that's what I would have guessed.
What is the? Oh, man.
Vanderbilt.
Kansas definitely won one with Mangino.
I had one of them.
Texas Tech with
Vandy's
Leach.
easy.
Vanderbilt is correct.
What is the conference of the second one? Because I have a sneaky thought in my head, but I don't.
They are currently in the Big 12 Conference. The Big 12 Conference. They are currently in the Big 12 Conference. Blutman, you know it? Don't say it.
Is it?
Say something.
You said don't say anything.
I said don't say it. Do you know it?
I'm thinking.
Okay, cool.
I think I know it.
What is it? Write it down.
I think I might know it.
No, they have.
I don't think so. I think they won 9 with Campbell.
The answer is Vanderbilt and Iowa State.
Because Kansas won with Mangino. Texas
When did
Tech
Arizona-
won obviously with Leach.
Yep.
Baylor's been good.
Iowa State got close.
Yeah. I guess I never. Did
How many
Arizona? I would have
Kentucky
actually
had?
probably
One?
guessed Arizona.
Yeah, they had one a couple years ago.
Did
They might
Arizona?
have 2.
When did Arizona win 10?
That's what that was my guess, was
In
Arizona.
the 90s, right? They
I
had one
didn't
big
think about
season.
Arizona. I would
I
have
had
guessed
Arizona written
Arizona.
down. Yeah.
They had one
Yeah.
big season, yeah.
Arizona State with Plummer.
They went to the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
played.
Yeah, no, you can pretty much hit every team and be like, oh, that was that one season. But Iowa State, they are not good.
No.
Campbell got them to 9.
They might do it this year.
They might have.
They'd have to win out.
They're 7-2. They might.
Who do they have left?
It's not going to be the
West
easiest thing in the
Virginia?
world. Yeah.
They're playing.
don't know
They're
who-
another team.
Ole
that's
Miss
playing
was
a little better.
before 2 years ago, right? Didn't they just get to their first 10 win?
Correct.
Yeah, like 2 years ago. Okay.
All right. So there's your question.
Crazy that Indiana did it 10-0. Like to get to your first 10-win season 10-0.
It's crazy.
It's nuts.
All right, let's go
It's
to.
also because of this new format.
Yeah, of course.
You're avoiding a lot of the big.
Well, and also the new format of Kurt Signetti did I think this will become a trend in college football where guys won't leave until they have a loaded roster that's ready to leave with them.
Yeah.
He left JMU and took 15 guys with him. So it's like you can have instant success. Like Fickle, I wish Fickle left the year after Cincinnati, not the year, like if he left in 2021, he would have been able to take some guys with him.
You think Signetti will be at Indiana for long?
I don't know.
I hope so.
I hope so too. I want him to be. Someone might offer him so much money. Indiana has a lot of money, though. Indiana has a lot of money. But here's the thing. The problem is how college football is going to work is everyone's going to get, all these college programs are going to get a salary cap. So it's going to be like $20 million, I think is what it is. And if you're at a basketball and football school, you don't get as much money because they want to send it on basketball. So like a Kansas is going to struggle because in football, because
They want
basketball
basketball.
costs a lot of money.
Kentucky.
And in basketball, like you can build a roster in basketball $7 million, $8 million. So that cuts
as
into
far as
it.
Signetti goes, I don't think there's going to be a lot of jobs open this year.
No, I don't either. I actually don't know if
Very
any.
quiet year, yeah.
What if they beat Ohio State?
I don't know what job was going to be. What job is going to
You
be?
don't think Ryan Day would get fired if they don't make it to the Big Ten championship?
I don't think Ohio State would. Do you think
don't-
he just take his job?
The only way
Maybe.
there's going to be a big job.
Maybe.
The only way there's going to be a big job open, I don't think it's going to be firing. I think it's going to be one of these guys going to the NFL. Dan Lanning, come coach the
Which-
Bears.
Interesting timing on the Dan Lanning
Yeah,
stuff.
come coach the Bears, Dan
NFL
Lanning.
stuff coming out this week. When
Yeah.
It's kind of weird game at Wisconsin.
Come coach the Bears.
Interesting timing.
Manning. You can use the golf simulator.
Bloodman from the clouds.
It's just, it's Groundhog Day with you and the Bears. It's
This is
crazy.
a college football show.
I'm not the one
This is a
asking
college
for a coach.
We have the
football
NFL show
But
tomorrow.
It's a different
This
day,
is a
different
college
dollar.
football show.
One new head coach, new quarterback.
Mississippi State
has.
hasn't won a game in the SEC
true.
this year.
What's your fucking problem?
It is true.
I fear for the NFL show tomorrow. I fear that it'll be hard for Dan, but we'll all survive.
It's been a tough week. It's been a tough week. I had kidney stones because of them.
How are you feeling?
I'm okay, but it was because of them.
Fair. Let's go to the DraftKings Dark Horse Host Parlay. What's better than watching football on the weekend? It's watching football on the weekend with the DraftKings Sportsbook app in your hand. Our partner at DraftKings is hooking up all new customers who bet $5. You instantly get $200 in bonus bets. You can also follow all of us and your favorite Barstool personality picks in the Barstool betting group on DraftKings. Download the app now, use the promo code CFB, and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code CFB only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. All right, Spidey, if you can come on in here. We're building it out. So Ev is out this week. So Dan, we'll start with you.
I'm going Kansas. We talked about this game. I'm taking Kansas plus 2.5.
Kansas plus 2.5. All right.
If it comes down to me, oh boy.
This has hit once.
I like being the last though
Right.
because there's a good chance it won't come.
Our unnecessary roughness parlay has hit 4 times
Yeah,
this
no,
year,
that's
which
crazy.
is wild. Okay, Brandon.
I don't think LSU is very good.
I like this pick.
I like Florida plus 4.5 in the Swamp.
Is DJ Lagway going to play?
I believe he's going to try.
Okay.
Bloodman, is he going to play?
He tried last week. We'll try this week. I guess I'll just always try. We'll
Is
see.
he going to play? Was the question.
I don't know. That all they say is
I think he's gonna
going to give it a go.
play. I think he's going to play.
Okay, I know Dylan Raiola is a little bit banged up, but Nebraska plus 9 against USC. USC is just horrible. They came out with the violations this week, which to me, and I understand, like, there's some rules are broken, but it's very clear to me that this is like a, hey, we want Lincoln Riley out of here. Let's start trying to find a reason to fire him with cause. I like Nebraska plus 9. And then Dave?
San Jose State.
Nash. Nick
Against,
Nash.
Boise. I think they can bite them and beat them. 13.5.
Learn the name Nick Nash, Dave.
Nick Nash.
Nick Nash. Let me just read.
Nick Nash, Patty.
Let me read a couple stat lines for you from Nick Nash.
The odds are
like that
plus
pick, Ev?
1282.
A lot.
Here's a couple
12?
games.
Plus
for you,
1282.
Dave.
Home.
Here's a couple games that Nick Nash has put up this year. 17 catches, 225 yards, 3 touchdowns. 16 catches, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. 10 catches, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. The guy is awesome.
Former quarterback.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nick Nash.
Bread and shred.
Nick Nash. Okay, so go to DraftKings again, plus 1282 for that parlay. Let's go to the Roback Dog of the Week. Of course, we are always wearing Roback, whether we're on the road or in studio, and they are fresh off their release of the Licensed Collegiate Collection. You can custom design polos, hoodies, quarter zips for all of your favorite schools. Roback is becoming the go-to game day apparel. Use code football at roback.com. You get 20% off. That's all quarter zips, shorts, hoodies, polos, joggers, the whole thing, using code football. That's RHOBACK.com. Make sure to check them out, because if you're a college football fan, you wear Roback. Dave, your Dog of the Week.
Kind of stole my thunder on this because I wasn't planning on talking about it off the top, but it's got to be the King of the South, Ben Mintz.
Oh, I'm
He
sorry.
had an absolute week, just DAWG. He has bragged about how brilliant Oxford is since he's been here. It lived up to the hype. He had me shaking hands, kissing babies, met the mayor. Then he goes out and says, take Ole Miss to win the national title. We're going to beat Georgia, and then we're going to be 10-1 at 35. Everything he did was on point, never had more credibility, and he's on top of the world. He texted me after. He said, thank you. I've had the time of my life. I have to pinch myself. But, yeah, the man is truly the King of the South right now. So thank you for the great week, Mincy.
9.
What's that?
Yeah, I still don't understand. He's been doing this, and am I a dumb person? I don't know what this
I know
means.
what it is.
March 9th, 2025?
Yeah.
That's what it is?
Yeah.
March 9th.
Is that when Mincy's contract is up?
No, it's not.
His contract's up.
It's what-
That's March the 9th.
Yeah. March 9th, 2025. We have a counter if you want to go visit the website. It counts down the days and hours and minutes.
So why are you bringing this up every time Mintz is mentioned?
Because if he leaves,
Why in
that's
the
why.
motherfucker do you think?
Yeah, if he leaves, that's why.
Mintz did have, like, when we were in the bus, I think Austin asked him, like, Mintz, if people don't, because it was pouring rain, he was like, if people don't show up to this school, where would you rank it in your failures at Barstool? And the list that he started listing, like the amount of failures Mintz has had, you just...
It was a great week for Ben Mintz. It really was. And Ole Miss. Congratulations, Lane Kiffin. The Rebs, hotty totty. It was a great week.
Yeah, then I'll just go ahead. I'm going to do Jackson Dart as my dog of the week.
I don't know what they're doing.
They're not good people. They're not good people.
Hey, Dan, we were on the plane on the way back to Chicago afterwards.
I know.
Jackson gets hurt.
Their backup coach scores an incredible touchdown drive.
But Jackson comes back out. He had the left ankle. He went into the locker room. He was limping. He refused to come out of the game. They end up winning 28-10. That's a dog. That is a dog.
He's a dog.
Jackson Dart, my dog of the week. Dan?
Okay, mine is a bad dog. It's that fucking loser, Brian Kelly. This guy is the biggest loser in the world. He goes to
get rid of him.
He goes to LSU to win a national title, which you can do at LSU because the last 3 coaches there have all done it. He leaves Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to be in the playoff. LSU's going to be out of the playoff. And that clip, I don't know if everyone saw it here, where he complained to the ref for Bama blitzing 8 with 17 seconds left. While he had his starters in trying to score a touchdown. He is a fucking loser. He literally complained to the ref. He's like, they're blitzing 8. He had his starters in trying to score a touchdown. Bama was in their second string. Did you see that clip, London?
Yeah, it was the most urgency he showed all game.
It was
I don't understand the concept. Why is he complaining to the
ref? I know, because he's a loser. He's a dog in the fake Tiger Omar Bradley was bad vibes. I don't know who would ever
want to go at LSU. That program is in debacle.
And I love LSU, and I love the people of Baton Rouge, and I like everything about that school is incredible. Brian Kelly's a loser. Get that loser out of there.
Doesn't know how to coach games.
Yeah, but it's not going to be long. They got the #1 quarterback in the country coming to him next year, so it shouldn't be.
Well, that's tentative.
So his high school coach was, right?
Yeah, how is that legal? Okay, whatever.
Brandon, who's your dog of the week?
You know, you used your dog correctly. You didn't try to make a statement or a joke like these two buffoons over here.
Mine wasn't a joke.
I'm going to use mine the right way as well, because when you talk about a dog, I'm going to talk about Fran Brown at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Because Fran Brown gets up there and they ask him about, what's it like losing and everything, or I don't even know what they asked him. All I know is he said his answer eventually got around to taking a shower and soap, and he does not shower because losers don't deserve soap after they lose.
Losers don't deserve to
disgusting.
be clean.
Correct.
I feel like he has this backwards.
Loser, you need to wash the loss off of you?
Wash the loss off, and if you win, you keep your lucky underwear.
That's your
on.
winning stink.
Yeah.
Well, according to him, losers don't deserve to be clean. And that's a fucking dog.
Then you smell, it's like, man, we got to win because
That's a dog mentality.
Yeah, true.
Nobody wants to be around you until you win. That's disgusting. Okay, F, your dog?
We talked about it already. Mine is Kansas. I love this BYU team, but you play with fire, eventually you're going to get burnt. Kansas is playing really good football. Jalen Daniels playing really well. And I think we kind of forgot because they had a rough start to the year. Lance Leipold, very good coach.
Very good coach.
Play with fire, you're going to get burnt. Maybe they win a close game, but I think Kansas upsets them, unfortunately.
Wrote them off pretty early. Understandably at the beginning of the season. Okay, it's time for Proper Picks presented by Proper number 12 Irish Whiskey. I will send it over to you, Dan. Let's take a look at the standings. Brandon and Dan are 4-7, Dave 4-6, Ev 5-6, and I'm 9-1-1.
amazing.
I thought that LSU Alabama over the way that game started. I was like, I'm a genius.
I knew it was a loser before it started, because in the bus I heard you say, am I an idiot? Someone explained to me how this game doesn't possibly
And
go
did you
over.
see the beginning?
Yeah, it was fire.
It was just,
But those
I know.
like the Indiana-Michigan game.
Yeah. No, that was a lightning bolt. You called that correctly. All right, so Proper number 12, all new Proper pregame, the first ever Irish whiskey party bucket, brought to you by our friends at Proper number 12. The Proper pregame has 12 total shots in here. You show up, your tailgate, your party, your pregame with this, and you are the life of the party. So Proper number 12, it's the perfect time to bring to your college football tailgates. Pick one up today. Proper number 12, pour the word. Do I have? I don't. I'm going to just take one here. Let me see. Irish apple, my favorite. Let's do it. Irish apple.
Bang.
And it's finally cold out, so that whiskey hits different.
Woo!
Down.
Proper number 12. It's the
Go,
smoothest
go.
whiskey out there.
It is.
My proper pick is going to be Texas, Arkansas over 57.5. I think Texas has to figure some shit out. That trick play they ran, that misdirection was so fucking cool. Sark still got that in his bag. Sam Pittman, he's probably gone. I guess that's
Maybe.
the
I
job
don't
that's
know.
He
open.
might have saved himself too, though. They're 5-4. If they were to stay.
And who do they go get?
Yeah.
I guess
He
they could
feels like
rehire Bobby Petrino as the head coach.
He feels like a retire guy, not get fired guy.
You think?
Yeah.
That's possible.
Like I'm retiring.
Would they take Bobby Petrino and give him the promotion back to
I don't
coach?
think so.
They should.
That would be so embarrassing.
It would be
for
so
him.
funny. But
But it would be
would it
great.
be? Would it be?
I think so.
It'd be embarrassing for us. We'd laugh at it, but I don't think Arkansas fans would think it was embarrassing.
Well, they're not bright.
Okay, Brandon, your proper pick.
Dan actually said it during when we did this game earlier, but this is my proper pick. It's Tennessee and Georgia under 48.5. Georgia's offense isn't very good, and we saw it get dominated. That offensive line got dominated against Ole Miss. Tennessee's defense is one of the only defenses in the SEC as good as Ole Miss, or at least close to Ole Miss. Tennessee's defense is excellent. Their offense is nowhere near as good as Ole Miss. I feel like this is like a 17-7 ball game. I like under 48.5 for Tennessee and Georgia.
Dave?
I almost feel like a square here doing it, but South Carolina's been playing great. I think Missouri stinks.
Also, I think Missouri's starter is officially out. Yeah, so it's Drew Pine again.
Yeah, I
Missouri's
just
so bad.
am not sold on Missouri at all. I think South Carolina rolls them. South Carolina.
South
minus
Carolina's
12.5.
playing really good football.
I did like Missouri head
Almost
coach
seems too obvious.
Eli Drinkwitz after the game being like, "We're still alive in the college football playoff," and it was just like, "What? Oh, I guess technically, yeah, you are technically."
But both of their losses, they were fucking killed.
Yeah.
Embarrassed. Okay, Ev, your proper pick?
Mine's Tulane -7. This is the G5 sleeping giant. That's what's been rolling people. Their only two losses were close Kansas State, close Oklahoma early in the year. Really, really good. Navy's kind of got exposed. I think Tulane goes in Navy and just rolls them over. Tulane -7.
So we already talked about this game in the preview. I'm taking Colorado -11.5 versus Utah. Utah starting a quarterback that's already been benched. They have just absolutely probably no emotion left after losing the Holy War. Meanwhile, Colorado, you see Dion all week saying nobody can beat us. Travis Hunter is going for the Heisman. Shador's playing out of his mind. I think Colorado is going to absolutely roll them, and the Big 12 is just very interesting. So I believe in Colorado 100%. Let's go to the Uber One Top 12. This fall, Uber One has debuted a fantastic new program for students. It gives students the same benefits as the regular Uber One membership, just the half of the regular price, though. So it's $4.99 a month. Those benefits include $0 delivery fee, up to 10% off Uber Eats orders, and even earn 6% Uber credits back on rides. Get additional daily free items and more discounts from your favorite brands. Sign up now in the Uber or the Uber Eats app and get 4 weeks for free. Grab all your game day needs with Uber One for student membership. What is going on?
We're taping this at night, which, by the way, when this comes out, when does this go out?
Tomorrow night.
So Dave's here because
Yeah.
we hired John Gruden, which is incredible.
Hired John Gruden. Casual.
Everyone will know it by the time this comes out. So we're taping it at night. Dave and I at the exact same time. I don't know if you can get us that clip. We both looked at Mr. Ice's game at the exact same time, independent, and looked at each other with the same look. Because I didn't know he was looking at it. He didn't know I was looking at it. But we both sighed and we're like, well, we know what we were looking at.
How bad is it?
It's Mr. Ice. Quite literally, every 3-3,
I need that clip.
1-1,
That was-
3-2.
I need that
Mr.
clip.
Ice 0-0.
I had no idea he was looking at it, and I just looked up and we both sighed. It was just like, oh,
It was the
fuck.
exact same thing.
It was just shame. I'm ashamed to know Mr. Ice.
How many has he won this year?
He's awful.
Oh, my
He's
God.
not just losing it.
It's
There's
that. It's
no
0-0.
goals. There's no goals ever.
Has he hit one?
Yeah, he's hit a couple.
He's like 3 and like 50.
I put in the bet, and then I look at the game, and it's 1-0 in the third period.
Outscored 3,042 this season. He is getting
Poor
run
Elio.
out of the rink.
I went to look at it the same time as you guys too.
Always 0-0. And every other game has goals.
Yeah, I went to look at it in the game right below, 3-3 overtime.
You said
was-
3-3. Like most nights, it's like 7-4, 9-6.
There's goals everywhere. It's literally every other game around a goal.
I know. Anytime I do like a long ad read and I see you guys all pick up your phones, normally it's right back down. Everybody reacted at the exact same
Yeah, I
time.
mean, he texts us the pick, and I put it in because I love the guy, but it's testing the love.
Another loser.
Testing the love.
Poor Elio. Okay, so obviously the
Poor Elio, poor us.
Or
No, I feel
Poor
bad,
us.
but he's just such a nice guy.
I understand, but poor us.
But you're listening to him, so it's whose fault is it really? Like, whose fault is it at this
I'll
point?
still listen to him. I'll ride with him
Oh,
to the
he
gates of
sends it in a
hell.
private group chat. We have no choice.
You got to support your guy no matter what.
If you get the text in a private group chat, you have to take it.
That's
why
true.
this guy over here fucked me when he gave me Syracuse and Kyle McCord took
Oh,
5 picks.
yeah. That was bad for
Texas
everyone.
I come in and the game's already.
Wasn't
he's
it
already
5
thrown 3 picks. He
That
threw
was
3
bad
picks before I could even sit
performance,
down.
and
He had 3 pick sixes, actually, I believe. That's
there were bad deflected pick sixes.
I
It was
can't
a
wait to watch
debacle
that
from
clip.
It's so good.
it was the exact same time out of the corner of my eye. Okay, so we obviously do our communal top 12 now because the college football playoff is out, so they've been doing it. So we have ours and we have our bracket as well. So if we could go ahead and unveil what it would look like. Obviously, the number next to it on the right is what they're actually ranked, but then this is what our current playoff picture would look like.
Okay. I did some work for SMU there.
Yeah, the thing about this, which I get, and it's not really, it's kind of crazy mentally for me to accept the 2 of the buys are SMU and BYU.
Yes.
Yeah.
That bothers
That's going to
me.
change.
They shouldn't be.
They're gonna
biased,
change.
Yeah, no.
biased like
Auto
that.
bid. No
Yeah, the whole thing, like my whole thing with the 14 playoff was like you at least should have had enough spots for the Power 5 because obviously if you win your conference, you should be rewarded. But to give them automatic buys is crazy.
We're saying they won't. I don't know how it works. Why won't they?
No,
get
they
the
will
auto
this
buy?
year. They're saying eventually it'll change because they're going to look at it and say like you can't have BYU and SMU just because they won the Big 12 and the ACC when you've got these other teams. Like, oh, by the way, the number 5 spot is exactly where
Bob's
you
a
want to
great
be.
spot.
Yeah, that's the Notre Dame spot. They made that for Notre Dame. Where did you guys have Texas ranked?
I have them at 3.
I have them at 6. I don't know why Texas. What part of Texas's resume is better than Penn State's?
So, well, I mean, Texas, Penn State, everybody shits on Indiana, and I shit on Indiana.
I have Indiana higher than Texas.
I shit on Indiana a lot too, but Texas doesn't have a resume. Penn State doesn't really have a resume.
But Texas and
Indiana
Penn State's resume is the same.
Yeah, it is.
They don't have any
It's
like
based
incredible
on
wins.
it's based on their preseason ranking. That's
Yeah.
all it's based
It's
on.
basically just out of the Big Ten is 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Just to throw them in there. The only one that doesn't have 2 losses.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
the SEC is like we've said is like they all have at least 1 loss right now. So you have to look at that, or at least 1 loss in the conference.
So I posed this question on Pick'em, and I want to know what Brandon's take is, and Casey and Nev.
Mostly me though.
No. I want to know all your guys' take, and actually Blutman. If we have the chaos scenario, let's say Texas runs the table, but then Tennessee loses to Georgia.
Sure.
It will be Texas with 1 loss,
Yeah.
and then there'll be a bunch of SEC teams with 2 losses. That 2-loss SEC team loses in the SEC championship to Texas. Do they get penalized?
So what I've heard is Sankey, the most powerful man in college football, is working behind the scenes to make sure that the SEC team who loses will not be punished in that scenario.
Because they will have 3 losses.
They'll have 3 losses. Yeah, I think Sankey is going to take care of that SEC team, whoever it is.
Okay, so that means a 2-loss team will then get screwed.
Well,
This
there's other trouble afoot here.
What?
I don't know if you've looked at all the tiebreakers. The way the tiebreakers are set up now, if LSU wins out, they're in good shape.
Yeah, it could be Alabama, LSU again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To answer your question, Dan, we talked about this on unnecessary roughness. I mean, I understand Sankey is the most powerful man, but it depends on how they lose. If they lose
Yeah.
like LSU lost to Georgia a couple of years
True.
ago, fuck that. Like
True.
if they you cannot get your like dicks kicked in the SEC championship with 3 losses. Now, if it's a really, really close game and it comes down to the end, then I can understand that. But you can't get embarrassed in the SEC championship and get rewarded for
I'll
that.
also say this, and people said it before the playoff, and I'll say it now. There is a school of thought, and I subscribe to it. I don't necessarily want to hear Team 12 playing versus like Team 13 or whatever. Like, if you can now earn your way off that bubble by playing well. So, like, you know, when you're looking at a 14 playoff team, 4 and 5, like Florida State, legit gripe last year. When you're arguing now 12 and 13,
2 and 3 losses. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, well, maybe you have a gripe, but you have
lost
plenty
3
of time
games. Yeah, right.
to fix
right.
that.
Right.
Well, then there's also the question, though, too, like when you look at, like, if Indiana plays close and loses to Ohio State,
think
and you have an
they'll do that.
11-1 Indiana versus a
If
2-loss
they
SEC team.
play Ohio State close,
I think they'll be in.
Yeah.
What about a scenario where BYU goes undefeated, they lose to Colorado by 1 in the Big 12
I think that will be
championship?
2 teams.
I think you have to both in,
Yeah, you
right?
got to put 2
Have
teams
to.
in.
And so then, then you drop an SEC team out, or potentially, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, we always do the disaster scenarios. It will probably work itself
It
out.
always
I mean,
sometimes works itself out.
But there'll be there'll be something that we don't see coming. It will be Georgia beats Tennessee, and then Georgia loses to Georgia Tech in the last week of the season.
And who's ever complaining though can I'll violin music. It's like you had your chances during the season.
I don't care about a 3-loss team.
Yes, correct. Right.
I mean, I know we already talked about it though, but like Missouri, if they do have 2 losses, obviously they stink. But then could they gripe at all?
No,
With only
because their 2 losses were
so
absolutely
bad.
terrible.
Awful.
Yeah.
Okay.
All their wins are terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hate Missouri too, but okay. All right, so we'll
Also, y'all already told me to beat Missouri. Mississippi State's beating Missouri.
Yeah, you're going to beat Missouri. Yeah, you'll take care
Can
of
you take
it.
care of that?
Yeah, I got
for
that.
us, please. Take care of that. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it? Okay, so we'll be back in studio next week. I mean, college football season's coming to not an end, but the regular season. Brandon, go ahead, put it back up for everybody to see.
I'm good.
March the 9th, 2025. All right, we'll see you next week.
All right, good show, guys.